God bless you, loved ones. Welcome to the Word with Chester. Today we'll continue study in the 37th chapter of the book of Genesis. In our last study, we read down to verse 19. Today our study begins at verse 20. If you remember us reading in our last setting that the brothers had saw Joseph coming. Joseph's father had sent him down to find them. He sent them to Shechem first, and they was not there. They had conspired and moved over to Dothan. And so Joseph got word where they was, and he was on his way to them. And they saw him coming afar off, and they began to conspire to kill him. They wanted to slay him. They said one to another, "Behold, that dreamer cometh." And here's where we start in our study today in verse 20. "And now therefore let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." Can you understand the thoughts of his brethren? He had told them their dream, and so they said, "Well, let's just get rid of him. We'll see what will come of his dream. Let's kill him, cast him into some pit, and we'll see what will become of the dreams that he had." In other words, you got to watch people when you tell them your dream. Sometimes they will go out of their way to stop them from happening or keep them from happening. I found that to be true firsthand. But I want you to know, if God has his hand upon you, God is going to bring to pass what he has set to do through you and in your life. And this was the case of Joseph. Now they were conspiring to kill him. I'll read 20 again. "Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." Can you see their evil thoughts and how they thought about their own brother? In verse 21, "And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him." Well, thank God for that older brother. He come to his rescue on that time, but we're going to read he wasn't all in the clear. He came to his rescue for that time, but shall we continue reading in verse 22? "And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit, that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again." Can you understand what Reuben was going to do? Reuben was wanting to deliver them from the other brethren and say, "Let's cast him in the pit." And they would have did so, and his brothers would have been appeased. But then Reuben would have went back and got him out of the pit to deliver him into his father again. Can you see the picture going on here? In verse 23, "And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat, and his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it." Can you understand? I could just imagine what was going through Joseph's head. Can you see the viciousness of his brothers now? Casting him into the pit, taking his coat that his father had made for him off of him. And verse 25, "And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spiceries and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt." Get that picture. Now also remember the name, Ishmaelites. Can you understand? This was also far off kindred, because Ishmael was also a son of Abraham, and also Isaac, where the promise came down through. Well, this was Ishmaelites. Well, they were far off kinsmen, if you please. So remember these names. As we studied the begots, you got to understand those names were mentioned for a reason. Well, here they saw this band of Ishmaelites. They were carrying spiceries, balm, and myrrh, carrying it down to Egypt. In verse 26, and Judah said unto his brethren, what profit if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Question mark. In verse 27, come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. They were content with selling him, making a profit off of him, but yet letting their brother go on and be sold down into slavery. Well, shall we continue reading in verse 28? And there passed by Midianites, Midianite merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph unto Egypt. Can you see what's happening to Joseph? Can you imagine? When you've had a dream, and you knew that God was in your dreams, and then you see all of these things transpiring, can you understand? Many times we have shattered dreams, and we're wondering why, when God told us He was going to do something, or why, when He showed us so clearly things that were going to happen, why would our lives get turned upside down? Can you imagine what's going through the mind and the heart of Joseph at this time? Here now being sold for 20 pieces of silver. Then they brought Joseph to Egypt. In verse 29, and Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes. Well, the other brothers, you got to understand, Reuben was set apart from the fullness of this scheme, because he said in his mind, I'm going to go back and get him out of the pit and take him to his brothers. The other brothers devised that and sold him, and it sold him to the Ishmaelites. Can you understand? And when Reuben went back to get him out, he was gone. So Reuben tore his clothes. You got to understand, he knew what this was going to do to his own father. So let me read it again. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes. Verse 30, and he returned into his brethren and said, the child is not, and I was... where shall I go? In other words, I'm the oldest brother here. The child is not there. Where am I going to go? How can I go back and tell our father the things that has transpired? Where am I going to go now? Let's read verse 31. And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goat, killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or not. They brought it to their father, this coat. And you got to understand, anytime you made a coat, you know that every marking put on there, you know whether you made it or not. In verse 33, and he recognized it and said, it is my son's coat, and evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn in pieces. Can you understand the grief that came upon his father? In verse 34, and Jacob tore his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. He mourned. You got to understand, this was not just him going crying a little bit, but he mourned for his son many days. This was the son, well, he loved them all, but he loved Joseph best. It was a son of his own age and a son of the wife that he loved so very much. In verse 35, and all his sons and his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, and he said, for I will go down into hell to Sheol unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Can you understand? All of the daughters and all of the sons that he had, they came down to comfort him, but he would receive no comfort for them. Well, I guess they were saying, well, Daddy, you got us. Well, he was only one, but you got us. But you got to know that one child, cannot take the place of another. You love them all, but you lost this one. And you got to understand the mourning and the weeping that Jacob or Israel was going through because he lost his son. In his mind, he was dead. Although he wasn't dead, he was sold into slavery, but in the mind of Jacob, he was dead. He saw the blood on the coats, and so he wept like he was dead. And I'll read 35 again and then 36. And all of his sons and all of his daughters rose up to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into hell or Sheol unto my son's mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him to Egypt under Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, and captain of the guard. Can you understand the things that had happened? They sold him, and then he went down to Egypt, and they delivered him there to be a slave for Potiphar. Now, this is going to open up another avenue. You need to be here in our next session. Very interesting story about Joseph and how God's hand was in his life and on his life. But here in his father's mind and in his father's heart, Joseph is dead. But you got to understand, when God has his hand upon you, it's going to open the door for many things in the future. But God had his hand on Joseph. You got to understand this. God was dealing with Joseph, and in every negative circumstance that happened, God was not through with him. God's hand had not come away from him. God's hand was yet upon him because he had chosen him to do a job for him. Well, I want you to know we're going to discuss this further. You need to be here in our next session. I want you to know that I love you. I love you, my friends. I love you with the love of the Lord. If you would like to contact me for any reason, you can contact me at the Word with Chester Ministries, Post Office Box 200483, San Antonio, Texas, 78220. You can also reach me at my website, www.poemsbychester.com. You can purchase our CD, which will be a blessing to you, and you will be a blessing to this ministry anywhere on the World Wide Web where they sell music. iTunes, TuneCore, Amazon.com. Just punch in my name, Chester L. Figure Sr. It will bring up my work, and you will be a blessing to this ministry, and this ministry will be a blessing to you. Remember, I love you, my friends. I love you with the love of the Lord. God bless you.